Okay, so we're going to welcome everyone to our estate planning session. If you got the link, it said the Nadine estate planning session. All right, and she has want to expose her sorors of friends, of family to this information, and so do I. So without further ado, we're gonna just jump into it. Um, oops, that's what we call struggle streaming. We make errors. Let's see here. The slide. Okay. All right. So this particular 3 ways we mess up our finances and how to avoid them. This is a modified workshop that I do called 8 ways we mess up our finances and how to avoid them. So we don't have time to go through 8 ways. That could be at least an hour and a half workshop. We're going to only deal with 3 of them. One of them is probate, Medicaid, spend down, and then not planning. These are critical because if we build in a state, which we're talking about estate planning, and we build in one, and once we have built it, we need to protect it. And so I find that we start with the end in mind, and then we come back to where we are, we can build a better mousetrap. We can build a better plan. So that's why we go to the end, probate, Medicaid spend. Those are some of end of life things, right? So we plan, we design a plan to protect ourselves against those items, and then come back to where we are. We can build a better plan. So 8 ways, like I said, people will mess up their finances and how to avoid them. One is probate, not planning to avoid probate. Joint tendency. Joint tendency is holding assets together. Federal estate taxes, taxes on Social Security benefits, and when you get to collecting that Social Security, go like, well, hey, what's going on? Why am I still paying taxes on this money, right? I already paid taxes, but taxes on those Social Security benefits. Inflation. So we have just realized during COVID and those things that we saw inflation go as high as 10%. Was it real, or was it artificially created with price gouging that they were doing to us and continue to do to us? But we got to that's inflation. Market risk, and what that is do I have my money in the stock market? Do I have my money in checking savings, the CDs account? So if you in the market, there's market risk. Nursing home costs, right? One in 3 people age 65 and older will spend some time in a nursing home. That's statistics, right? So that's one another way we mess up our finance. And then not planning, right? So we're going to kick that in the butt. Now we're going to start doing some planning and avoid all of these mistakes. So not planning to avoid probate. That's why we start there. Of course, we're not trying to be morbid or anything, but hey, we all know we're going to die, right? So we need to avoid probate so that we can make sure our assets go to those who we want them to go to, right? So it's a little educational piece here. What is probate? Probate is the legal process in which the court makes sure that after you die, your will is legally valid, your debts are paid, your assets are distributed according to the instructions in your will. A lot of people are under the false assumption that if you have a will, you will avoid probate. No, if you have a will, the judge has to approve that will, right? And then what they're going to do, they're going to look at your debts, they're going to pay them, and then what's left over, they're going to transfer that to your heirs, right? That's the probate. That's what probate is. Why probate? If your name is on title of an asset and you die, the only legal way to take your name off the title of an asset and put the new owner name on is probate. So what that simply means, if you die with your name on your house, your cars, your stocks, your bonds, your bank accounts, all of your assets, right? Joshua Pondexter, I die with everything in my name. I have two Joshua Pondexters. I have Joshua Pondexter II. I have Joshua Pondexter III. They still got to go to probate to get my stuff because my name is on it, right? So that's why probate. Now, what stuff go through probate? What assets actually go through probate? Does everything go through there or not? Certificate of deposits, right? These, I've been in the financial sector for almost 3 decades, and there've come a point where certificate of deposit was not chic. You know, they were out of fashion, but now they give them 4-5%, right? So people will start back putting their money in that certificate of deposit, which I call certificates of death. I would never put any money in there. Real estate goes through probate. Businesses, a lot of people don't know, if you have a business, your business can go through probate. Stocks, bonds, good old mutual funds, personal property, your watches, your fur coats, your jewelry, all these things can go through the probate process. Surprisingly, not every asset you own must go through probate, right? If you own assets jointly, right? Say husband and wife, right? Or mother and daughter, father and son, those things that you hold jointly or have a valid beneficiary, they don't have to go to the probate process, right? Or own life insurance products, or you use a trust. Those assets will avoid probate. So that's one of the big reasons why you want to have a trust, because trust held property avoid probate, right? So even though jointly held property avoid probate, and things with beneficiary avoid probate, these things have shortfalls, right? So what's some of the shortcomings of beneficiary arrangements? Say, for instance, you have a life insurance policy. I got $1 million on myself, my son. He's married, has children, so they're my grandchildren, and I die, and he gets so upset, overcome with grief, he dies. Does that sound possible?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, I don't think he died. He waiting on that $1 million. But we have heard cases of a woman dying and her daughter got caught up with grief and she died, right? I don't think no man gonna die because his daddy died. But anyway, go with the scenario. My son had a wife. He died. So who is that $1 million going to? His wife. They're not going to my grandchildren because she takes over the estate, right? Unless I make provisions, put that proceeds into my trust that goes to my heirs, right? That's the shortfall of beneficiary arrangement. Same way with joint tendency, with marriage, divorce, and remarriage. We don't know who those assets are going to go to eventually, right? But we want to make sure that they go to our heirs, our bloodline. This is one of another benefits of a trust. That's a side note. So Here's the probate process. A petition for probate begins, right? So now you got to go down and petition the court to begin. And you know what that costs to go to court, costs fees, right? Got to pay the fee to start the probate process. And I don't know if anybody, because we're close to Indiana, right? So Indiana is a state that the only people that can go through the probate process, you must hire an attorney. You don't have an option in Indiana. We can still do pro se, represent ourselves or our family here in Illinois, but there's 50 United States, and I'm quite sure a lot of them have joined in on this bandwagon to say that, hey, if you go to probate, you must hire an attorney, right? So the courts takes control or supervision of the estate. The judge approve your will and officially appoint your executor. So if you have a will, a lot of people under the misconception that if you have a will, you don't go to probate. Yes, you have to go to probate. The will must be approved by the judge and your executor. They have a whole system of disallowing executors. They can say, well, hey, listen, this guy, this girl, they have too much debt. They got all that student loan debt. They got that mortgage debt. They live out there in the suburbs. They got the luxury cars debt. And then the judge can say they are not a good fiduciary. We don't know. We can't let them handle your estate. They got a whole system of, oh, you live too far. They got a whole system of disallowing our executors for our wills that we write up. Inventory all assets and debt. So they're going to come in and inventory all your assets. They're going to look at your whatnots, your elephants, your little glass elephants, and they're going to assign the cost to all that to bolster up that estate. They're going to look at your debts, right? Hospital bills, credit card debts, that money you owe me. They're going everything. And then they're going to pay your final bills. Final hearing notice to settle the estate. Dispute settles and assets distributed. So anybody can dispute. Long lost cousins, friends. Anybody can come and say, well, hey, I saw this on this judge show. This guy was disputing a watch that he had won playing golf with the lady husband. He's gonna bring the woman to court to sue her about her husband watch that he said he won the watch doing a gambling debt. So this is what can happen in the probate process. Executive release and the file close, right? So this is the probate process. The problem with this is that this could take 6 months or 2 years in Illinois. You live in other states, it can take even longer. So probate is definitely something you want to avoid. If you have a single family residence in Cook County, it can cost anywhere from $17,000 to $21,000 just to take that single family residence through the probate process, right? So there's another problem. Is the cost of probate, right? 3 to 10%, right? So if you have a $300,000 estate, they take in 10%, right? You got, it's 30,000, 600,000. That's 60 grand. You got $1 million estate. Depending on how well you handle yourself, you could have a $300,000-$400,000 house. You could have some 401ks and some other assets, and bam, 10%. Will or no will. Very critical that you note this. Will or no will, you go to the probate. Time delay in Illinois could average 6 months to 2 years, right? AARP suggests that $14 billion a year in probate fees, with 75% going to attorneys. This is why this is a big business, right? I don't know if you know any lawyers but if you ever saw probate lawyers, they don't have run over shoes, right? They got nice watches and nice suits. Public domain. I know all your private people, but you ain't got your camera on. I know you're private. You don't want your stuff in public domain when you die. And then your family lose control. The court has taken control of your assets that you didn't work so hard for. Probate is to be avoided at all costs. Any questions on probate?
I didn't understand your explanation on public domain.
Okay, yeah. So they got a section in the newspaper, right, about those who are going to the probate process, right? And so then the vultures show up, right? They trying to get you a cash offer on your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I personally know guys that they live down there, right? One of my buddies, he has 44 houses. He got a probate, right? That's what he do. He go down there to the court, see somebody in distress, because after you have been in court for a year, $600 attorney, then the judge is gonna like the attorney got to be paid, and if you don't have any cash, they're gonna force you to sell the house, right? To pay the attorney. So that's public domain. Just their people are just not only attorneys but laymen like me trying to take advantage of someone, right? To see what you have. So okay, you need some cash. What you got? You got gold. You got jewelry. Everybody's in there trying to get stuff that because they know you need money, right? If you in probate, is that good, Nadine?
Yes.
Domain.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions on probate before we continue on? Probate is to be avoided at all costs for you, for your family. Okay. Good. We're gonna push on.
Well, maybe I do have another question.
Yeah, certainly.
So I hear a lot of people say, well, it's just me and my husband. I don't have any children or, and so do we still need if that's the scenario?
Good question. Good question. If that's the scenario, so I don't have any. It's nobody but me and I don't have any children. I don't have any brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews. I don't belong to no sororities. I don't belong to any churches. I belong to nothing, and I just want the state to get my money.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I hear you. Okay.
Right. That would be the person that don't need doing anything. But I have met people like that, which I find kind of odd that they have no one, right? But they give it to charity. They give it to their church, right? So they're sororities, right? So no, you need to do planning. If you have built something, make sure at least. I used to go to a church. We would put a leaf. We had a tree. We'll put a leaf on up there for you. You gave enough money. So, yeah. So nah.
Okay. So you do need. All right.
Yes, you do need it. Yes. Okay. Not planning for the overwhelming cost of long-term care, right? So we went to the end, which is death, avoiding probate. So another thing that we got to watch out for is long-term care, Medicaid spend down. And so these two things are devastating the wealth transfer in our community, right? Because Medicaid comes before death. Okay. So what are the odds? Recent study indicates 1 out of every 2 people who reach age 65 will spend some time in a nursing home. That's a lot. That's what's going on with that, right? We want to stay out of them statistics. So what are the costs associated with long-term care? Skilled nursing home care, intermediate nursing home care, assisted living, custodial care where you stay at home and have somebody come in and take care of you, home health care again. And what are, so look at, who will pay for these things? Medicare. Medicare only pays for 100 days. Medicaid will pay 42%. Long-term care insurance, 2%. Families, 54%, right? So anybody who's thinking can know that this chart is old, right? Which one of us have the time or the capacity to take care of an aging parent? Not only, and then financially, right? So now that 54% that will be parents, now that goes to Medicaid, right? So that makes Medicaid numbers about 96% of those who need that type of care is going to go to Medicaid, right? Yeah. So I remember when I was growing up, everybody would rotate for Big Mama. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now when the nursing home came available, we got to go to work. We still working at 65 and 70. We can't stop to take care of no people. So those the family portion is gone, right? That was an accident. I didn't mean to kill that slide. Let me bring that back up. So Medicaid spend down. So the Medicaid spend down is what they ask you to pay before Medicaid kicks in, right? So the things that are non-countable is your home, your car, your jewelry, burial plan, $2,000 to $93,000, right? So here's the deal with the home. If you are married and one of the spouses go into the nursing home, the community spouse gets to stay in the home. They don't take the home from them, right? So that doesn't count. A car. I've been doing these workshops for almost 20 years. So my youngest son is 22, and then he'd go to these workshops with me, and he asked me, he said, Daddy, he said, why old people always got the nicest cars? I said, that's when you should buy a nice car. You don't waste your money when you're young buying a nice car, but that's what people do today, right? So jewelry, right? So your jewelry doesn't get counted. Burial plan, that up to a certain extent, right? So if you have a cash value life insurance policy with over, $25,000, they count the rest of that. So you got $100,000 worth of cash value, they want the rest of that. They're going to count that, right? And so this $2,000 to $3,000, this is a husband and wife scenario. So let's put some numbers on that for people who live in Illinois. So one of the spouse go into the nursing home. Say that spouse has $3,000 of income, right? They're going to take all of that except maybe $50, $90 for personal item for them. And then the spouse that's outside the home, they get to keep a maximum of $3,200 that they were dependent on that person's income. They, but that person got their own income. They make $20,000 a month. They the rich person that or earner that didn't go into the nursing home. So now here's what's going on with these windows, these dollar windows. So that family can only maintain, in the state of Illinois, that husband and wife can only keep $132,000 of cash. Other than that, you're gonna have to start. Medicaid is gonna say you're gonna have to start paying for it, right? So then you got $20,000 a month coming in. Wow. So that means you got to start spending. You got to start spending all your money. You can never accumulate over $132,000. That's for a family. So this is why Medicaid spend down is so insidious. It robs us of our wealth, right? Because as soon as you accumulate more than $132,000 in husband and wife, one of the spouses is in the nursing home, one out of the nursing home, then they're gonna have you start paying that $9,000 a month, right? That spouse. Your question?
I do. I'm sorry, you all. I'm kind of slow.
No, you helping us.
Okay, so the scenario, this is a husband and wife, right?
Yes.
So say the husband is in the nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife still not working but has a pension. Okay, so the husband may have a how do you pay for the nursing home?
So you have initiated Medicaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Medicaid started paying that $9,000 a month, and then they require that you only keep so much cash. All right. So
you mean the husband and the wife, or just
the husband and the wife. You still married.
Mm-hmm.
One spouse is who did you put your husband in the nursing home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're asking me, I didn't hear you. I'm just looking. I'm not talking.
Right.
Look, Kevin,
I'm listening, Joshua.
Right, I know,
I'm
right?
not talking about my husband.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get clarity.
I'm trying to give it to you.
Please, I'm not, baby. I ain't talking about
Okay.
Oh,
All right. So
Lord.
that's why
I need to answer this question.
Nadine, that's why
I don't know about her credibility now.
I know, right? That's why I was using the word spouse, right? I didn't use husband and wife, right? But these people, they are married.
Okay.
They're married. And so the one spouse is in there, and then the other spouse who has that pension, right? How is that pension not affected?
Okay.
Right. So how their pension is not affected is by they pay with the spend down rules. The rules is that you can never acquire more than $132,000 cash. If you do, you're going to have to start paying for your own Medicaid. Right? And they do checkups annually. So Medicaid spend down is insidious. Okay, Georgia. Go ahead.
Say 130 some thousand. Are you talking about a month or what?
No, that's how much cash that you can maintain in your possession being the spouse that's not in the nursing home.
That's what I'm saying, per month or per
No,
year
no,
or
no. Forever,
forever?
forever, ever, ever, ever. And so what that means, you making $20,000 a month, you can make all the money you want to, but you want to make sure you spend it and not accumulate it. Because then Medicaid.
Oh. So
But you
said-
don't, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Yeah, take your time.
So what I'm thinking is, you're not talking about income. You're saying you cannot have, for instance, a savings account of over $132,000, but you can make over $132,000 a year.
Yeah, you can make it a month. You can make
Okay.
$132,000 a month, but you cannot put that money in your savings. You cannot accumulate it in stocks and bonds. You can do none of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's crazy, right?
So what do you do? So what
or they
happens?
come forward and say you should pay the Medicaid for your spouse.
Right. Now they
Okay.
start making you pay. Was there another question?
I guess not. So when you say you can't accumulate, so if you like Nadine said, you have a pension coming in. So what do you said you got to spend it. You don't, but when you're old, you don't need to spend on anything. I mean, much.
I agree. That's where them grandchildren come in at. That's where
Okay.
that's where I come in
So,
at.
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. You need a boyfriend? You got
No, got a husband.
You got, well, hey, there you go. Give it to him. Somebody, well, Nadine put her husband in the nursing home. But anyway.
No, I didn't.
We're going to leave that alone. So let's continue.
Look, Kevin about to pass out over there.
So
We've got it recorded, no?
yeah, it's You're right. So those are the things that don't non-countable. But here's what's countable that they're going to come at first: your CDs, your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, your vacation homes, your cash investments. And there's a 60-month look back, right? So that's 5 years. So that's why planning is critical, that you need to start doing your planning as soon as possible, because Medicaid will come and they can devastate a retirement account, right? So you and your spouse been working diligently for the last 30, 40 years. You done put together $400,000, $600,000 of cash, right? How long does it take to spend down $600,000 of cash at $9,000 a month? Only take a few years, right?
That's all right.
It's about $100,000 a year.
Mm.
6 years,
Mhm.
right, before Medicaid could be. So so now it's very important that we start planning. So is paying $10,000 to $20,000 for a long-term care insurance policy the only answer? Right? No, I say no. So here's the deal: is that long-term care is expensive, because especially if you're over 50 and you want a good policy. A year, right? It's $10,000 to $20,000 a year. There are some hybrid stuff out there that you can go get some life insurance and then add a rider. It ain't gonna give you $9,000 a month of benefits, right? So that's not the only answer. So
Can they bother your annuity
okay,
if you have an annuity?
okay. Let me stop. Who asked that question?
I did.
Oh, Sharon.
Sharon.
Okay, yeah, good question. So, is an annuity a cash account?
It is for me, but it's not for everyone else.
No, annuity. We're talking about your annuity, right? So that's you
Okay.
got cash in that account, right? Now, of course, life insurance companies are slicker than snot, right? So
Mhm.
what they say do, which I recommend to do, because that's what I did with my clients for years, put their money in annuities, is say, hey, Medicaid friendly annuity. You could have $1 million in there, and then what you can do, you can annuitize it and have them send you $500 a month. So that's the only thing they can count, right?
Okay.
So something happens to you, then you can send the rest to your children, your
Beneficiaries.
spouse, and beneficiaries and things of that nature, or to your trust,
Okay.
right? So that's an advanced strategy. Okay.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, cool. Let's go back here. So now, since trust held properties avoid probate and they can take stuff off of your line item that you don't own it anymore, you might want to get yourself a revocable living trust. So what is a revocable living trust? It's revocable, meaning that you can change your mind. I've been writing these trusts for my clients for I don't know, over 15 years. And what I mean by revocable, they can tear them up if they want to. Them heirs, make them mad. And amendable, Mr. Pondexter, get over here immediately and take that girl off of here. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's amendable. Trust held property, avoid probate. One of the biggest bang for your bucks there. You don't have to worry about your assets going to probate. They go to your heirs, the ones that you designate that they go to, without any probate delay. They secure additional tax benefit at death. Control after death. You can say, well, hey, you can't get this distribution until this age, or you have to accomplish a certain thing, graduate high school, college, become a productive citizen. If not, we'll give it to charity, right? So you can control after death. Okay, so I want to jump back. That secure additional tax benefit at death. So that one's is one that get overlooked, but is big because there are people who have bought properties in Chicago 40, 50 years ago. 2 units, 3 units. They paid $35,000 for it. Now those properties are worth $500,000 or more, right? So that's capital gains. And if you if you transfer that property to your heirs outside of a trust, they're going to have to pay the property gain, the gain from 35,000 to 500,000. And that gain is 20%. So let's use even numbers. 100,000 you paid for it. It ballooned to 500,000. That's $400,000 a gain. So the taxes that's due on that transfer is 20% taxes on 400,000, right?
So that means that the person that you wanted to go to got to pay $80,000.
So 20
or be taxed on 80 what?
On 400,000, right? Yeah, that's right. $80,000. You're right. Math is good, teacher. Is very good. So yeah, that's exactly what that means. So, but if you put that property inside the trust, then they get what's called a step-up basis. All right. So now they receive it as 400,000. So there's no capital gains taxes that do on it. So let's talk about the trust. I liken it to a box, and in the box you have a trust store. That's you. You are the trust store, the guarantor, the one that put it together. So put together by your power. You're the trustee. So whatever you put in the box, your houses, your cars, your stocks, your bonds, your businesses, you manage it just as you do now, right? Because you're the trustee. Beneficiaries, right? As long as you're alive, whatever you put into the trust, you're the beneficiary of it, all right? So all the cash, all the principal, all the stuff that comes, you're the beneficiary. So, and then you have successor trustees. This is likened to an executor of a will, but it don't need a court to approve it. So now you have someone that makes sure that the assets get distributed according to your trust. They don't have to get paid. They can, but they can't modify, make any changes because you have determined that your stuff is going to your heirs, right? So even your heirs could be successor trustees. You got you know, a couple children that you want to assign to make sure brothers and sisters get everything equally. That's what that is for, right? Any questions on revocable living trust?
Yeah, so you can't put money in a trust, right?
You talking about a bank account?
Yes.
Yes.
Or
Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, banking, savings, checking accounts, money market accounts you can put into your trust.
oh, okay.
Okay.
And then one question about capital gains is because of that taxes, that's why a lot of people who buy a second home don't sell their first home because of the capital gains tax. You know, they may rent it out instead of selling it.
No, because most people, husband and wife, have a $500,000 exemption on capital gains on taxes, period, if you have maintained that residence for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, so that wouldn't be the reason that they rent it out. They just want to make the money. Go ahead.
Okay.
$10 and
Listen,
3
Okay.
cents.
Hey, Cynthia, can you mute for a minute? Because I think I'm hearing you
okay.
too. Thanks,
Yes.
Cynthia.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, cool.
Can you finish answering that question?
Okay, about the capital gains and
Yes, in the houses.
in the houses, right? So your primary residence, if you have been in your primary residence for 2+ years, you can sell it, and you can, if you married, you get a $500,000 exemption. If you single, you get $250,000 exemption, and you can do that every 2 years, right? So there's some people that buy a house, fix it up, get a fixer-upper, live in it for 2 years, sell it, get $300,000 of equity, do it over again, right? They don't fall in love with a house in the neighborhood. It's a way to make some money, but someone who in that scenario, they're not worrying about tax concern. It's an asset that they have. They might as well rent it out and make some money, especially if they have a vacation home. Okay.
And so
Thank you.
what if you want to just put everything you have in the box and then just in case, and then can you go back and straighten the box out? Say the box is just, there, haven't been specific enough about the beneficiaries and this and that. Maybe it's just in the trust. What can you do about that if you know you need to be in the trust,
Right.
but you may not have all your people and stuff together yet?
And that's where we say it's amendable, right?
Okay.
Right. So we can make amendments, we can make changes, we can change beneficiaries, we can add beneficiaries, right?
But it's best to be in the box and not in the box, because then you have to be in probate.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I
Thank you.
got it.
Thank you. That's very clear. Right. So now the third mistake, of course, is not planning. And that's not planning to see me. Right. So we offer a consultation. It's complimentary. Right. There's no obligation. It's private. It's professional. We lay out the planning process, and it's at your convenience. Right. So we want to show you what let's see here, what our what our plan consists of, right? And it's creating documents, right? So that's basically what the plan consists of. I'm going to show you some of the documents that our plan consists of. So the trust preparation service includes these documents: the revocable living trust, right, which I liken to a company. Is its own entity, right? You take your name off your stuff, put the trust name on it. The trust now owns it. You don't lose any of your financial and legal rights to your property, right? You get a memorandum of, revocable living trust is a private and confidential document. So when Michael Jackson died, they were talking about he owed hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. Then when they said the Michael Jackson Family Trust, all that noise stops, right? Memorandum of the trust is something that you get to show that the trust exists. These are something that you show financial institution, medical institution. Nobody get to see your trust but you, right? And then of course, durable general power of attorney is a document that we include in the trust, because husband and wife, they cannot sign each other's name, even though Brother Blue, they sign our name. You go down there to the bank and you sign your check, they won't even take it. They said, "This don't look familiar. This so your wife was signing it, So with the general power attorney, if pensions, Social Security, any government entity, your spouse cannot deal on your behalf, or your children who might be taking care of you, right? They can't even function with those entities, right? And then a durable power attorney for health care, someone who's going to make medical decisions for you to become incapacitated. Don't want to leave that up to the physicians and the doctors in the hospital to have that type of power. Medical information disclosure authorization, right? Sad to say, the third leading cause of death in America is physician mistakes. Doctors killing people in the hospital. The last thing they're going to do is give up those medical records. So the medical information disclosure authorization is a whole harmless letter to that facility, say, let my medical records go and let my estate have them, right? A living will, that's your right to die. The pour-over will is one of the most powerful documents in the estate planning package, because if you die and don't get your assets into the trust, because you're still acquiring houses and cars and stocks and bonds, probably didn't get that in, they pour over. The pour-over will pours it over into the trust, and avoid that protracted probate process, right? And of course, statement of wishes, right? What you want to do with your final thing. And then sad to say, in America, 80% of the trusts that are created go unfunded. And when I mean unfunded, what I mean by that is that their assets are not put into the trust. There are people that are writing trusts for $4,000 and $5,000 and not putting nothing in it, just giving it to the clients, right? So this is where we go, what separate us, we go the extra mile, and we create these transfer documents. Your warranty deeds, we utilize that to transfer your real estate, bill of sale of personal. Since personal property is a probatable matter, we put everything in there. Bill of sale general, we can use that to put your cars and your boats and things like that into your trust, your businesses, right? Certificate of deposit, insurance, bank accounts, securities, stock and bonds. So we have a very comprehensive estate planning package that we offer to you. Not only that, we sit down with you and we go through Medicaid planning. We look at your assets, see what's exposed to Medicaid, and we start to make a decision to avoid Medicaid spend down. Tax reduction strategies, like we said, putting that trust into that real estate into a trust, reduce capital gains, avoiding probate costs and attorney fees, how to avoid double taxation on your IRAs and your 401ks and pension, because a lot of people don't know if you transfer those 401ks and pensions to a non-spouse, they get double taxation. You get taxed, they get taxed. So you get that consultation and you get that advice. Number one. So let's take a couple of questions before we end the recording. Anyone got any questions? Okay, I'm not surprised because I'm pretty thorough, right? So, but we do appreciate you coming to our workshops. Nadine has been, wanted to get this information out to her friends. We only been working at this for a couple of months now, and it's looking really, really good. So we're going to be doing this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we're going to be talking about different financial topics. Those specific topics we're going to address are those ones that affect people that are retired and retiring, right? And how to live well in retirement. Okay, so once again, we want to thank you for coming, and we're going to end this recording at the moment.